What up, perps? Kid Copious, back in effect. Purple State Party. You know what we're doing here? We're repping America, the center, and common sense. And God, do we need some common sense. We are really lacking that right now. If you ever had to overcome any sort of obstacles, diversions, problems, issues, if you overcame those, man, I know what that's like. I got much respect for you, much love. And this one's for all of you. Puppety. You know, a lot of people ask, hey, kid, why the purple? It's quite simple because I don't think either side fully represents a good idea. I think both sides have issues. I'm not going to get into those issues, but at the end of the day, I think the conservatives, the Republicans, have more good ideas or good ways of going about things than the Democrats. And lately, what we've really seen is that the Democrats have sold out to the far left, thus becoming leftists, thus becoming socialists, communists, whatever label you want to put on them. But they're not really Democrats anymore. And that's one of the reasons why I don't vote for that party. Because they simply don't represent America. They represent more of a communist society. A society based on dumb ideas that might sound good. Thomas Sowell is going to kick this show off. One of the most important reasons for studying history is that virtually every stupid idea that is in vogue today has been tried before and proven disastrous before, time and again. Kamala Harris said she was going to take control of food prices. Well, you could look at Venezuela and see how that worked, because Ortega put several hundred food items on some sort of government price control list. Maduro increased the amount of foods that were on that list, and the country's a disaster because it doesn't work. One of the things that bothers me about the left is they like to blame capitalism. And I don't see how capitalism as an ideology is the wrong idea. Somebody produces something, finds the price that the market will bear, and sells it at that. That is one of the great lies going on right now. The producer index is higher than the consumer index. Things cost more to make. One reason being because of government regulations. Things that are mandated by, say, the state that increase the cost. Biden famously, and Gavin Newsom along with him and other blue state governors, have attacked fossil fuels. They have tried to limit fossil fuel companies' abilities to make money. So therefore, those companies need to make as much money as they can now. They have to raise prices. They're not in the business as a charity. They're a business. And doing those kinds of things, trying to drum out one industry because of your ideologies, it's not going to work. And that's one of the things that we're facing the most in this 2024 election. How much further down the road are we going to go with these bad ideas? And even when they have a good idea, such as rural in high-speed internet, as we've seen in shows past, they put so many DEI regulations in place that not one home in 4 years has been hooked up to high-speed internet in rural areas because their dumb ideas got in the way of their bad ideas. We'll get more into it as soon as I get my computer working right. One of the things that I think is undeniable, and let me rephrase that. I want to talk about this subject with things that have sort of been proven, okay? I don't really want to come out here and spout ideas that are not backed. I'd rather spit ideas that have some numbers, some proof behind them. And what we've seen recently, is that the Democrat Party kept Biden in the race through the primary because their end goal was to get a woman of color as president so they could claim that little gold star. Look at us. Yeah, it doesn't matter that she sucks. But then the media played along. When people were talking about Biden's not fit for office, the media labeled such questioning as Republican conspiracies, Republican rhetoric, far-right rhetoric. Whatever they had to label it to discredit it. But then when he tanked at the debate, which everybody expected, suddenly the media is like, he's too old. Right? The polls started confirming that Americans had turned on Brandon. So that was the time they stuck Kamala in with about 100 days to go, knowing that this fever pitch of excitement, oh my gosh, they got rid of Joe. They pulled a coup. It's a fucking coup, and the media co-signed it. That's what they did. Nancy Pelosi, Barack Obama, Schumer, and other leaders in the Democratic Party thought, wouldn't it be wonderful if we forced the situation? You either elect a black woman or you elect Trump. Those are your two choices. We had a third choice, but talk about that in a second. But this came from a party that called January 6th a coup. Said that it was an insurrection. So what do? They manipulate the situation to get Kamala Harris in a position to possibly be elected the president of the United States. Right? And to keep the Democratic voters from feeling like they were cut out, which they were, they said it was preserving democracy by abolishing democracy. That's the big problem. Look, I voted for Trump against Biden because, quite frankly, I knew what Biden was about. I didn't think Trump had done a bad job. I thought Trump had earned my vote. I was kind of hoping somebody else would emerge this year. I didn't really want Trump 2.0. But the Republican voters nominated him through a primary. So, okay, fair enough. But how do the Democratic voters accept Harris? They didn't support her in the primaries. She got almost no votes and was one of the first to drop out. 5 or 6, 7, 8 people finished with higher votes than she did. When she became vice president, again, a token diversity hire. Let's be honest. She was not one of the top vote getters. The Democratic voters did not say, we kind of like Harris, but we like Biden better. No, they didn't like Harris at all. But they stuck her in as the VP, checked off a couple boxes, and told you to suck it. Right? They didn't approve of her. 26% approval rating? That's not even all the Democrats approving of her job. But she's the candidate? And now, to save America, they will vote for her. And so far, like we talked about earlier, her first plan, price control. Like I said, look at Argentina to see how that works out. In one generation, Argentina went from a prosperous nation to a shithole because of socialism, which is exactly what she's espousing. I mean, I'm not trying to get a victory for purple. I'm not trying to get a victory for Republicans. I'm trying to get a victory for America. I don't know how some people feel. You know, I'm in my mid-50s now. I was born a long time ago. I went through a different education system. I was brought up differently. But here in my DNA, here pumping in my blood, is the blood of those Minutemen, of those patriots who fought to create America from a colony of Britain to a global force for change and good. And if you think for 1 minute that the United States has not been a force for good and change, okay, look at everything she's accomplished. Look at everything we Americans have accomplished. We were the force that freed Europe from Nazi tyranny. We were the people who were on the front line against the spread of communism. We are the people who donate our own money to other countries to help them out. We donate our tax monies. We donate our personal money to help other countries. We are the country that everybody comes to when the shit hits the fan. They don't go to fucking China. They don't go to Russia. They don't go to Sweden. They don't go to Japan. They don't go to Argentina. They don't go to Canada. They come to us. That's why I'm a proud American. Because a bunch of farmers, a bunch of renegades and weirdos took on the most powerful nation of the time and formed the nation that we live in today. And this nation has, at least in my eyes, always stood up to bullshit. We had our problems. Yes, you can talk about slavery. You can talk about the civil rights. We fixed those things. We worked on those things. Every single fucking day, some members of this country fight to preserve liberty and justice for all. Others want to tear it down nowadays. They primarily come from one side of the coin. The Democrats. Look, the Republicans are not siding with the fascists. They're not siding with the fringe far right. They're not, believe it or not, despite what the media likes to say, they're not trying to outlaw IVF. They're not trying to end interracial marriage. All right? The media is a propaganda tool. Do your own fucking research. But anyhow, at the end of my street, there's actually a Harris wall sign. Gotta say, I didn't see any Biden-Harris signs ever. But everybody's, Harris walls. Yeah, voters for socialism. And in the media, they talk about she's leading in polls. But we should be reading that Americans are rejecting Harris. But they're not. They're like abused spouses. They're wedded to their abusive partners. And this is just so, I don't care. Like, if Biden had won re-election and won the election, I guess the way to put it is it would sting less because he was who they picked. The voters picked him. He was the natural choice as the incumbent. But the Democrats manipulated it. They should have, if they were playing the game fair and honest with you, they would have pulled Biden before the primaries and found a candidate that their voters approved of. Harris, they already know they didn't approve of her. Again, I hate to repeat myself. Well, I guess I hate it when I repeat myself. They didn't vote for her in the primary. She had the lowest approval rating of any vice president. And that includes Pence. And even people who voted for Trump didn't really like Pence. But that one political party has so utterly corrupted the process to get what they want. And that the media is just a willing propaganda wing of the left is truly soul-crushing. Because this is not America. This is not the way our founding fathers set it up. If Harris was a legitimate candidate, that would be one thing. The fact that she's not should be a wake-up call to everybody, especially those on the left, especially those people who call themselves Democrats, because your party has deserted you. Your party is the fucking King George of today. This lady, Kamala Harris, she has no talent, which has been proven. She hasn't really accomplished anything. She's flip-flopped on things. When she was a tough DA, she's now flip-flopped and says, it's too tough. Right, okay. She's not liked. Again, that's proven. And she's not deserving. She had a chance as VP to do something. She was the border czar. She was supposed to get to the root cause of it. We already know what the root cause of illegal immigration is. People rather be here. Right? That's simple. For whatever reason, people rather be here. Even the people who fucking hate us would rather be here. Kamala Harris is the poster child of failing upwards. And you know what I'm talking about. And you know you fucking hate it. When you have supervisors or bosses or floor supervisors, whatever the fuck they are, and they know less than the floor workers, when they care more about kissing the ass of the corporation than the people doing the hard work, right? The salesperson sells the widget, but somebody has to ship it. Somebody has to pack it. Somebody has to store it. And the people who are above, and I'm not saying all of them, because I've met a lot of supervisors and bosses over my years. A lot of them have credentials and experience that suits that job. But a lot of them failed upwards. I saw it myself. At one point, I was a guy who hooked up TVs. And I was good at it. And I was really good at explaining how some of these new systems work, picture-in-picture, things like that, to the customer. So therefore, every time there was a fucking promotion, they kept me where I was because I was good at my job. They promoted the lazy sacks of shit that didn't do anything. And that's who Kamala Harris is. She is that lazy, shit-headed boss who never did anything. So they're like, well, promote him because we don't need him down here doing the actual work. We just look around and we could see what the Biden administration has actually done. Forget what the media is telling you he's done. What has he done? How does it look right now? Doesn't look great. Meanwhile, Trump did okay. He certainly did better than Biden. And the Republicans have done less harm than the Democrats in their states. But, side note, fuck you to the governors who outlawed abortion. Because you fucked over America for your own narcissistic needs. You know, Texas, Florida, with their abortion bans. I know there's other states. You cemented the Republicans as the people who outlaw abortion in a land full of one-issue voters. And that may be the reason why we end up with an idiot at the helm. Foreign policy under Kamala Harris? Are you kidding me? Her own supporters, her own employees can barely stand her attitude. What do you think the president of fucking Venezuela or China's premier or the queen? Well, the queen's dead. Sorry, long live the queen. Long live the king or whatever the fuck it is over there. You really want Kamala Harris going over there? Would you want me going over there? Think about it. It's the same thing. This is a job that requires people to have certain amount of talent in negotiating and speaking in public and dealing with other people. Hey, Trump may have been like, F you, it's my way or the highway. But at least people heard his message. But not Kamala. Kamala's already flip-flopping on everything, which to me tells me that she's going to go where the money is. The environmental groups, the LGBT groups, anybody who's getting a lot of money, BLM, PETA, all of these worthless charities, the Minnesota Bail Fund, come on. We know who she supports. We know that all of the things that she's denying for the election, and she will quickly return to them. If she wants to win votes in middle America, she can't talk about open borders and defund the police. So she's just going to deny it. This is a party that constantly lies. Okay, Trump exaggerates. All right, that's great. That was his big thing. He exaggerated. But when it came to the issues, he stood where he said he stood. At least we know we're getting that out of him. But her, and look at the way the media is already trying to spin it. I don't give a fuck about Van Jones, so I'm not going to get too much into this. But he's trying to say the left just died with the emergence of Kamala Harris, Democrats. He's talking about, they're not going to talk about reparations. They're going to talk about a better path forward. Trying to convince Democrat voters that she's not a leftist, that she's a Democrat. And we know it's lies. Look what she says here. This is at the DNC. I'm not going to cover the DNC. You know why? Fucking waste of time. Okay? Y'all cheated. I'm giving you as least amount of airtime as I possibly can. I wish I didn't have to talk about this shit. Really didn't. But, DNC, she promised a new way forward. How? And she also warned against returning former President Trump. Warned, yes. Oh. Where's the warning on you, bitch? Because you are bought and paid for. You don't even have a backbone to stand on. You're good at lying around, though, I heard. And the VP candidate, a true believer in Chinese communism. Maoist to the core, says former students. They were talking about when he went to China in 95 and warned that the Minnesota governor is a true believer in Chinese communism and is a Maoist to the core. So, I've been saying RFK or stay away. This was some bad news here, They did ultimately drop out of the race. And his VP, Nicole Shanahan, said the question is the risk of a Harris-Walz presidency worth us staying in? And that's the question we have to ask ourselves right now. So he dropped out. He's going to support Trump. I'm not sure how I feel about this, but it's got to be good for the Democrats. I don't know how, RFK voters are going to vote now. According to the Wall Street Journal, most of them, or at least half of them, are going to swing towards Trump. Okay, maybe. But more importantly, he was a third choice in this election. He was somebody who wasn't Trump and wasn't Harris. And that's not what we want in our American policies. Political process. We don't want it just coming down to two people who neither one really does anything to impress the other side. They both try to impress the extremes. Trump basically impresses his base, and Kamala, she's trying to get all the radicals. That's what she's counting on. Because she's basically saying, look, if you're a middle-of-the-road Democrat, what are you going to do? Vote for Trump? This is RFK's statement about Kamala. She went in 4 weeks from being the worst liability for Democratic Party to the second coming of Christ without giving one interview, without showing up for a debate, without a single policy that anyone thinks isn't ridiculous. It's not democracy. That's the biggest problem with this. It's not democracy. The party inserted her. The party didn't go with the number 2 vote getter in the 2020 primaries, did they? Did they go with the top 5 vote getters in the primary? No. They went with their little symbol, the person that they think will get them the most votes. She's black. The blacks will vote for her. Think about what that says when a political party just makes those assumptions. Oh, she's a lady, so the ladies will vote for her. No, it should be her policies are so good that they will vote for her. That she has done so much as a senator and a DA and a vice president. People will vote for her. She's the best person for the job. People should vote for her. No. Hey, you like check boxes? Vote for her. You hate Trump? Vote for her. You hate Trump? Vote for her. That should be her. That would be her honest branding. You hate Trump, so vote for her. A vote for Kamala is a vote against Trump. That's all it is. Kennedy went on to say, I think it was a coronation. It's not a democracy. Nobody voted. Who chose Kamala? It wasn't the voters. And he complained about the way his campaign had been treated. Biden refusing social service, Secret Service. And you can see how my brain works, man. I got a double S and I'm on to Social Security. The Rolodex up here, man, it's a little bit rusty. It's a little bit broken. But I agree. It was a coronation. Because these are the kings and queens. It's quite common knowledge. If you have a partner a spouse or boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever. And they're constantly checking your phone, looking at it, looking through text messages, questioning you about every single thing that somebody says to you. Why is this guy texting you? Are you cheating on me? The more they say it, the more likely it is that they themselves are doing it. And that's where the Democrats, to me, have lost. Because they always accuse Trump of being a racist, a Nazi, a threat to democracy. And they say it without any proof. I don't see where the proof is. I haven't seen the proof. Have you? If you have, okay, please put it down in the comment section. You might as well, like and subscribe while you're at it. But the more they protest, the more likely it is that they themselves are. And Kamala Harris is that final proof. They installed her. They manipulated the game to install her. And speaking of manipulations, this is one of the things that the media and both sides do politically. They take the news that they want to hear, run with it, and hope that the truth gets lost in the shuffle. Fed confronts up to 1 million U.S. jobs vanishing in revision. But look at those benchmarks. In 2018, jobs went up 43,000, right? 2019, lost 500,000, right? 2020 rolls around, 2021, we start losing. They see this giant gap, this giant growth. Most of that was government jobs. But a lot of them didn't even exist. Another reason why I'm not a Democrat anymore, and I really, especially now with their swing even farther left, is because it's illogical. And I think just downright wrong. Cash-strapped California inches closer to handing taxpayer home loans to illegal migrants. Wow. Outrage as California opens up $300 million home loan scheme to migrants. And the San Diego supervisor, Jim Desmond, puts it best. Once again, California has chosen to prioritize illegal immigration and fiscal irresponsibility over the needs of its citizens, all while facing a $60 billion deficit that will ultimately be passed on to the taxpayers. They're going to give, every time they cut a check to an illegal alien, that's one U.S. citizen who gets cut out of the process. And these kinds of loans guaranteed by the government are the ones that the finance companies want. These are the loans that are going to get made. Not the loans to you or me. No. The people who aren't even supposed to be here. And of course, they like to put these fancy names on it. The Dream for All Shared Appreciation Loan Program to non-legal migrants. And you want to know why people are calling it insane, nonsense, and all this, and there's other people calling for a taxpayer revolt? Because at the end of all of this just means that more illegals will stream to California for the free money. They could take the loans, move in, stay there for a while, don't pay the loan back, live through the eviction, and then just go elsewhere. Meanwhile, actual California taxpayers get asked out. And how does this affect the housing crisis? Well, I think it could only make it worse. They're saying they're opening up the home, but this program should be for people who earn the right. And instead, it's going to be a magnet to attract more people. And when all those illegals stream here hoping to get a free home loan, because that's the way they're going to see it, it's a free home loan. They can live rent-free in a home, don't pay the loan. I mean, you could get several months out of it. You get lawyers involved, maybe you can get a couple years out of it. Right? I mean, fuck. I bet you California will help people stay in their homes even though they haven't made one dime in payment. Seriously. I could see that. But if they don't get that loan, well, they're already in California. And now an already overtaxed system, overtaxed based both on how much they take from us and how much they have to spend out, is going to have to absorb more people. It was the same thing when they started all the cockamamie homeless shit here, where they basically gave a green light, right? They give a green light to the homeless. Hey, come camp on our streets and we're going to give you free stuff. If you're a drug addict, even better, here's a free pipe. Here's some free needles. So they streamed in from all over the country. Now we have the most homeless people of any state. Isn't that great? That's exactly how it works. And why? I think, personally, they already have the Democrat vote locked up. You want abortions? Trump and the Republicans are Nazis. You're staying right where you are. But they need new voters. Because every day people must wake up and realize, oh shit, they've just been lying to us. The media's in on it. They're telling us all this shit, how great it's going to be, and it's a complete fucking disaster. Yeah. So they need new voters. Voters who are like, well, I don't know. The D gave me a bunch of money. The R, well, they don't even exist in California. And when you talk about Trump versus Harris, okay, there's little quibbles you could have with Trump. I get it. Okay? There's little quibbles you could have with Harris. But just know that Kamala Harris's political party that she's affiliated to and beholden to has allowed over 12.5 million illegal border crossings. 12.5 million. Now you're getting up to Los Angeles, New York City populations. The most in U.S. history. Well, no shit. No shit. And even if just 10% of those people are up to no good or are just here to exploit the system, that's another million people. I mean, fuck, we've already got people who are scamming Social Security, that are scamming U.S. citizens, that are committing burglaries, robberies, selling drugs. We've got that covered. We don't need any more of those people. One thing about proper immigration is that for the most part, it brings in people who are really going to benefit our society. They talk about, oh, these illegal immigrants are spending all this money. Right. They're taking taxpayer dollars and putting it back into the system where it's taxed, put back into the coffers, and then redistributed to illegal aliens again. You could make numbers look good. That's what they do with jobs, right? We've talked about this. They create 300,000 government jobs and go, look at all the jobs that have been created. They're all fucking taxpayer funded. And one of the reasons why that irritates the shit out of me is you look at Massachusetts. They raised taxes on millionaires to give its students free meals. They had a 4% tax hike on anything over $1 million, okay? But they were able to give out free school lunches, free community college, and expand financial assistance for state schools, fund transportation projects, including road and bridge repairs, and new bike lanes. Because they were only paying 5% annual income tax. In California, it's somewhere in the neighborhood of 14% at least. Could be higher. I mean, if you earn enough money in California, it's about 30%. So, of course, rich people are going to leave. Because here in California, they give out so much stupid free money that they don't have money left over for tangible things. Things that you could look at. Things that you could see your tax dollars at work. In Massachusetts, all of these people who earn over $1 million know what they have contributed to their state. Can the same thing be said about California? What, we give out free needles to drug addicts. We give out tents to the homeless. We form sanctuary cities that prioritize illegal aliens over our own cities, our citizens. We give out home loans and driver's license to illegal aliens. They don't spend shit on school. I was reading about a school district in San Francisco area where they spent over $100,000 a year to have a lady come in and clean the teachers' chakras. Meanwhile, those very same teachers were having to clean up cockroach infestations because there's not enough money for janitors. You see, bad money chasing stupid ideas. I know. Man, all I did was rant about Kamala Harris. And I don't think that's going to stop now. The thing that bothers me the most is the way they went about it. They manipulated the system And they forced their voters to make a choice between Harris or Trump. Everybody knows that Harris is a failure, and she has failed her way to the tippy top of the political ladder. And that's just not what America is, man. We cannot reward failure. We could not simply reward failure by saying, hey, you check some check boxes. And it's not a matter of me not wanting a woman or a black woman or an Indian woman or a mixed race woman in office. I'm a fan of Tulsi Gabbard. Okay? I'm a fan of Kristen Sinema, Noam up in Dakota. I have no problem. What's her name? I always forget the lady's name. In Virginia. I can never remember it. She's a black woman. I'd vote for her. Even if she ran as a Democrat, I would vote for her. But these jokey candidates, this has got to stop. We got to get back to picking the right person. We need one of these political parties to nominate somebody that everybody could coalesce around. Wouldn't that be great? It might be a wild fantasy of mine. But, you know, America is a dream. It's a set of ideals that we don't always reach. But we always strive to reach that. So if asking for a candidate that a majority of Americans can rally behind is a fantasy, well, I'll roll the freaking dice on this. Because this is America. And one thing I have learned about America, we pretty much always come out on top. It's not a boast. It's what history has shown us. We are that force for change and good in the world. And somebody like Kamala Harris can really put that at jeopardy. And I'm not willing to do that. And I hope America's not willing to do that. Anyway, thank you for your time. Hope it wasn't too long. I'm Kid Copious. I'm Purple State Party, and so are you. Love one another. Vote with your head, not your heart. And for God's sakes, you know, if you're feeling a little Sigma, just dance it out.